Greetings from the Burnsville Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us for this Meet the Candidate program. I'm Jennifer Harmoning, President of the Burnsville Chamber. And with us today is Brady Folkstadt, our volunteer public policy chair and moderator for this program. Brady, take it away.
Thank you, Jennifer. Again, my name is Brady Folkstadt. I do chair the Public Policy Committee. Public Policy Committee for the Burnsville Chamber put together these forums, and we appreciate the candidates taking time to express their views as it relates to business. And thank you to all of you at the Chamber for watching this with us and being informed this November for the election. Today we have with us Kaela Berg Van Holston. They are running to represent House District 55B. 55B, essentially, if you live in the south and east, well, north, south, and east section of Burnsville, this is going to be your district. So 35W and east, and then south of 136th and or Burnsville Parkway. And this is you. So pay close attention to your two candidates for your area. With that, we will get going here, and we're just going to ask candidates as we rotate through just a couple of minutes, starting with Van. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what motivated you to run for office.
Yes, well, my name is Van Holston. I am a retired attorney. I sometimes referred to myself as a recovering attorney, but I've lived in Burnsville for over 20 years. And at one time early in my legal career, I worked, I was an employee of the Minnesota House of Representatives. So I know something about the process over there and how things work. The rest of my career, I spent most of my time doing various types of insurance litigation, and I still do occasional projects. But other than that, I'm mostly retired. I got into the race and decided to run because I'm concerned about the direction of our state. I think in many ways we're going in the wrong direction economically and in our schools and in the budget. We'll get into some of these issues later, but Minnesota budget over the last few years has grown almost 40%. And I think that is unacceptable. Family budgets are not going up by 40%. There aren't any businesses that are growing by 40%. And I think the state collects too much from its taxpayers and spends too much. They've grown the bureaucracy over the last few years, and I'm be working to curtail some of that.
All right, thank you. And now, Kaela, over to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your motivation to run for office.
Thank you, Brady and Jennifer, for hosting this and inviting me to participate. I'm Kaela Berg. I'm your current state representative. I've served 2 terms. I am currently the vice chair of the Labor Committee and an assistant majority leader, running for my 3rd term. I'm the mom of 2 amazing young men, both Burnsville High School graduates, so we have deep ties to our community. I'm a flight attendant and a proud member of my union, which is the Association of Flight Attendants. And really, I ran for office because I want a Minnesota that works for working families. I know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. I'm currently a single mom, head of my household. And so I want to make sure that the people of Minnesota and the members of our community here in Burnsville have economic opportunity and the ability to live the life that they desire and to find success and leave a legacy for their family. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. And again, thank you both for joining us again. Now, Kaela, the first question that we have here is, being the Chamber of Commerce, do you consider yourself a pro-business candidate? And if so, what does being a pro-business candidate mean to you?
you for the question. I would consider myself a pro-economic opportunity and pro-small business candidate. We have several in our district here. The Lenora Event Center that was just opened up by one of our community members, Mrs. Haji. This will bring people into our vibrant community and showcase what Burnsville has to offer. When our community members have economic opportunity, it only creates a thriving local economy. But no business works unless we have worker protections, and that ensures that we have a strong workforce now and into the future. Mind's Eye Comic is another favorite local business, and it's been really fun to see them transition into the Burnsville Mall location. And, you know, everyone, as I said, deserves to be able to build a legacy for their family. And so I know that we have opportunities at the state level with grants for local businesses and ways to ensure that folks that are just starting out, that are new to being entrepreneurs, have the help that they need to grow their business.
Right, thank you. And Van, same question. Do you consider yourself a pro-business candidate? And if so, or if not, what does being a pro-business candidate mean to you?
Yes, I consider myself a pro-business candidate. All businesses, business activity and business life is the really lifeblood of the community. People get their incomes, and growth, economic growth comes from business and a healthy business environment. And I would work to promote that. I think that Minnesota has a rich history of successful companies that have grown up here, 3M and General Mills and others. And we've always been a state that grows well and substantially each year, and not so much recently. I think that economically we are more stagnant now. One of the measures of the economic health of a community is whether people are moving in or moving out. And like many so-called blue states, Minnesota, the people are moving out. The population is down. And so I think we need to do something about the health of our business community. I think we need to free up on some taxes, free up on some regulations. Minnesota has one of the largest corporate tax rates in the country. We need to lower that to be competitive with other states, because we are competing economically with other states and other countries. And to do that, we need to be competitive. Ms. Berg talks about being a person in support of working families. I don't think the legislature is doing much to help working families. The taxes increases have fallen greatly on the poor and the middle class.
Okay, thank you. Thank you both. Next question, Van, this will be coming over to you to begin. Strong public schools, we know, are a cornerstone of our communities, and great education helps out our workforce. With the historic investments in education in the last two sessions, we've seen a lot of new funding go to the schools. This year, we're seeing area schools go out again for local levies for funding shortfalls. Do you consider these schools to be fully funded? And or do you have a belief on the increased mandates, and are those a factor in the school funding as of recent?
Yes,
What are your thoughts?
yes, the mandates have a factor in the increasing funding. I recognize that there has been an increase in the funding for schools through the Minnesota legislature. One of the great tragedies that's going on in our state right now is that our schools are really in a crisis, and the legislature has not helped. They have harmed the situation. With regard to finances, it's true that they increased the state contributions to education in the state, but they also shoved over 60 mandates onto the community from the legislature and from Department of Education. And many school administrators and superintendents came to the legislature and told them, don't do this. It's going to bust our budget. We're not going to be able to handle this. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Despite the increase in the aid to education, somewhere around half of the school districts in the state of Minnesota are underwater financially, some of them seriously so. And I think the mandates have a lot to do with that. The other real tragedy going on here is that the schools aren't getting the job done like they should and being harmed by these mandates and by the social engineering that is going on in our schools. The test scores, recent Tribune story indicated that the test scores are down in Minnesota. And in our own school district, in Burnsville School District, close to half the students cannot read or do math at their grade level. This is a tragedy. This is a catastrophe waiting to happen. And our future is in education, and our future is in our children, and we are not getting the education done.
Thank you. And now, Kaela, same question. Strong public schools are a cornerstone. We made a lot of investments over the last couple of sessions. Still, we're seeing levy questions headed out on ballots. Are our schools fully funded, and or are some of the mandates a factor in their funding currently?
Thank you, Brady. No, our schools are not fully funded, but I will say another reason I ran for office was ensuring that we have strong public schools. My youngest son had some struggles early on in his educational experience. I spent a lot of time advocating for him, trying to find resources. It was almost like another full-time job. But then we were able, once he got to Burnsville High School, to access a full-time school counselor. And that's when things began to change for him and our family. So I was really moved to author a bill. It's House File 8, a governor's top 10 bill, to put full-time personnel support into every public school in the state. So that's school counselors, psychologists, social workers, and nurses. That is one way that we are trying to reach and help our students. We know they come to school every day with traumas they may not talk about, and we may not understand, and you can't learn when those needs are not being addressed. But to fully fund our public schools, we need to close the special ed cross subsidy, and recruit and retain teachers. We have a program called Grow Your Own for folks moving into the state or changing careers, to really make the licensing easier. Let's see. Oh, we also increase the indexing for the general education formula into the future to meet our school needs. Universal meals, which is funded by the state and the federal government, has been a huge success. And I know it's critical in our community alone. And we're not going to end historic underfunding overnight. 2004, 2005, 2010, and 2011 were tough years for education funding. And in 2023 and 24, we invested $2.2 billion in our public schools. That's going to fill maybe about a third of the whole. We have much more work to do.
Right, thank you. And now, Kaela, you get to tackle this next question first. It wouldn't be a good business forum if we didn't talk about taxes. So the upcoming budget forecast shows that state spending growth is outpacing the revenue. Next year, 2025, is a budget year. How do you plan on handling that imbalance should you be elected in that budget year?
Thank you. Great question. First of all, we did pass the most historic tax cut in Minnesota history. We implemented a child tax credit that cuts child poverty by a third. We are giving rebates to property tax or property owners this year. We did some things that are really going to fundamentally help our families, investing in childcare, nursing homes for our elders, etc. But to address the budget, last session, Democrats in the majority made a very responsible and disciplined decision to leave about $2.45 billion on the bottom line for fiscal year 26 and 27. And we really did that so that we could avoid cutting existing programs. We also required that inflation be accounted for in state budget budget forecasts, so that we are really able to make the most responsible and reasonable decisions when we're determining how to use our resources, so that we can do the most for the people in Minnesota. So there is a misconception out there that somehow we're in trouble in the state budget. And I think that a lot of people that maybe don't necessarily know how to read a budget, or aren't kind of getting the full information on it, it makes people worry, and that is certainly understandable. But we really actually are in a very strong position going into the next legislative session.
All right, thank you. And now, Van, your turn to tackle this one. Should you be elected, with the current forecast showing spending outpacing the tax revenue, how would you handle this in the upcoming budget session?
Well, you really can't discuss budgets without getting a little bit of history here. Our Minnesota budget has been growing by a whopping rate for years, doubled over the last 15 years, and under the Walz administration and Ms. Berg and her Democrats, it's gone up about 40%. Prior to the last legislative session, there was a substantial budget surplus of something like $19 billion. There was promises to give a substantial back to the taxpayer. They basically gave a pittance back and spent the rest, and then increased the budget and increased taxes. And Ms. Berg talks about the tax breaks that they did give to the working people. But with the left hand, they gave tax breaks, but with the right hand, they raised taxes. They raised the sales tax, the Metro Light sales tax, raised delivery tax. The license tabs are going up. And people are going to be surprised to find out that they raised the gas tax, because that's going up next year. All those fall heavily on working people and the poor people. And so there needs to be substantial budget restraint. I don't agree that we're necessarily in a good position right now. Every item in the state budget has got to be looked at, and we have to slow the growth in government, because it is the growth that we've experienced over the last few years is simply not sustainable.
Thank you. Thank you both for tackling that question. The next one is, with a lot of things that have happened over the past couple of years, small businesses are struggling to understand and implement some of the new workplace mandates that have occurred recently. If elected, would you consider alleviating the stress of this on small businesses? And if you would, how would you go about that? And that'll be to Van first.
Yeah, one of the things, at the lifeblood economically of any state or any community is its small businesses, because that's where big businesses come from. They grow, and and we need to do something about the high tax corporate tax rate. We need to do something about the tax rate, and we need to do something about the regulations that stymie business and stymie growth. I will also say that I would be one. If I have that chance, I would vote to repeal the Family and Medical Leave Act. I think this is a substantial mistake. It is very expensive to operate. They've already started growing the state budget, the state employing the bureaucracy to run this program. It is very burdensome on businesses. Not only is going to be burdensome on businesses, but burdensome on individuals, because the money is going to be coming out of the individual paychecks and from the businesses. People will be making less money, and the businesses will be struggling to handle this program that is, again, very expensive, and very, very few people in the state of Minnesota will ever benefit from it. So I think it is a mistake, and I would vote to repeal it.
Thank you. And now, Kaela, your chance to handle this. A lot of new mandates over the last couple of years on small businesses. If elected, would you consider alleviating this stress? If so, how? Or what other plan might you have?
Well,
Thank you. I mean, one of the reasons that I enjoy coming to chamber events is so that I can hear directly from our small business owners here. And I've had a lot of really great conversations, but I've also heard from a lot of people that are telling me that this is something that is affecting their lives in a tremendously positive way. And that always feels great to get the feedback from the community that the things that we are doing at the legislature are changing their lives for the better. So for me, I'm always happy to listen and learn from small business owners. And if they are struggling to understand new policies, those conversations are beneficial, both for me to learn what they're experiencing and take those opinions and those struggles and those conversations back to the Capitol to see how we can do better. If it's a situation like they're having trouble understanding things from the agencies, I'm happy to be a conduit between them and the agencies so that everyone can understand. And if they're encountering other problems I'm not aware of, I'll find them ways to help navigate the system. It always works best when the community engages with me, and so we can problem solve together. We implemented some vital worker protections this last session that all workers deserve, and by doing so, we are ensuring a workforce that can balance their personal needs with being more productive and able to contribute to the local economy. These policies create an investment in the local economy, worker loyalty, and economic success for both the employer and the employees. And I think that ultimately strengthens our community.
Thank you. Thank you both for taking a look at all of these questions today. With that, moving on to some closing comments or closing remarks. Kaela, we're going to head over to you first. You got the next minute to tell us why you are the best candidate to represent 55B in that area of Burnsville.
Thank you. And again, thank you for inviting me to this forum. I think that the work that I've done and the faith and trust that my community has placed in me shows that what we're doing at the legislature is helping our working families and our communities. You know, I'm a single mom. I know what it's like to work paycheck to paycheck. I don't have a college degree. I struggle in my own ways. And I think that's really representative of a lot of our community members. I'm a renter, so I can speak to what that's like. And I think representation is really important. And I think a lot of people see in me some of their own struggles. I'm always humbled to serve this incredible community. And I think I have the knowledge and the experience to continue to do so. I always make my decisions based on my integrity, and I've made a commitment to explain and talk to anybody about the votes that I take. And I welcome the input, ideas, and innovation of our community members. And just thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you. And Van, next over to you. Just take the next minute to let us know why you would be the best candidate to represent our area.
Yes, thank you. And I thank the Chamber for putting together this forum. I think it was a good idea, and it's been very, very helpful to me, and I think to the community. I base my desire to serve on a lifetime of experience. Not only been an attorney in doing insurance litigation, but I've had some opportunities to get involved in businesses and what's going on and help them with their legal issues. And I think I could bring that experience to the legislature. As I said at the very beginning, I think we're headed in the wrong direction in a lot of ways. There's too much in the way of tax increases that are hitting not only businesses, but working people. And I think we need to do something about, again, the corporate tax rate, the high tax rates for the individuals in this state, and for the working people.
Thank you. Well, that wraps up our forum for today. Thank you again very much. Again, we have Kaela Berg and Van Holston with us today. Thanks for watching as well back home or at your office. Again, if you're wondering which candidate is the candidates that you are going to have on your ballot. You can go to the Minnesota Secretary of State's website, What's on My Ballot, or Find My Polling Place. And either one of those resources will let you know what district you are in. Again, I'm Brady Folkstead with the Burnsville Chamber Public Policy Committee. Thank you all for joining us. And back to Jennifer.
Thanks, Brady, and thank you to Van and to Kaela for participating today. It's really great that our community can get to know you a little bit better. And here at the Chamber of Commerce, we're grateful for the opportunity to provide that service for our community. We will be, as Brady said, you can find your polling information as well as all the voting information on Minnesota Secretary of State, and voting from September 20th to November 5th. And if you're looking for more information on the Burnsville Chamber of Commerce, please continue watching videos on our YouTube page or join us on our Facebook or website. Thank you and have a great day.